Without this one technology, Egypt was desert. Mesopotamia was dust. The Roman Empire never existed. This is the history of irrigation, the system that didn't just grow crops, it built the ancient world. Think about that for a moment. Every civilization you've ever studied, every pyramid, every emperor, every great city of the ancient world was only possible because someone, somewhere, figured out how to move water, not carry it, not wait for it, move it, control it, aim it, like a weapon, at the earth itself. That's what irrigation is. And its story is 8,000 years long. It starts in the driest place you can imagine, Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. Two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, cutting through what is otherwise near desert. Around 6000 BCE, the people of this region, the Sumerians, did something that had never been done before. They looked at a river flowing past their fields, and instead of waiting for rain that might never come, they dug channels. Simple ditches at first. Gravity did the rest. Water followed the slope of the land, crept into the fields, soaked into the soil. It sounds almost embarrassingly simple. A ditch. And yet that ditch is the reason you're alive. Because once you can control where water goes, you can grow food where nothing grew before. You can feed more people than the land could ever support on its own. And when you can feed more people, you can stop moving. You can build. You can specialize. Some people farm, others make tools, others govern, others think. Civilization isn't a natural state. It's what happens when irrigation makes it possible to stand still. The Sumerians didn't just dig ditches. Over generations, they engineered entire networks, canals branching off rivers, sluice gates to control flow, reservoirs to store water between seasons. They had officials whose only job was to manage water distribution. They wrote laws about it. The world's first water rights system was Sumerian. 6,000 years before modern water law, they were already arguing about who owned the river. 1,000 miles to the west, Egypt was solving the same problem differently, and more elegantly. The Nile flooded every year, predictably, reliably, on a schedule so consistent that the Egyptians built their entire calendar around it. And instead of fighting the flood, they worked with it. Farmers built earthen embankments, low walls along the fields that trapped the rising water as it spread across the land. The water would sit there for weeks, soaking into the soil, depositing the dark, nutrient-rich silt it had carried down from the mountains. Then, when the flood receded, the farmers released the water back to the river and planted directly into soil that had just been naturally fertilized by the Nile itself. No fertilizer, no machinery, no chemical inputs, just a wall of earth and a river that never missed its appointment. This was basin irrigation, and it fed an empire for 3,000 years. The same technique, refined generation by generation, supported the labor force that built the pyramids, the priests that filled the temples, the scribes that invented writing, the pharaohs that conquered half the known world. All of it, every single brick of it, was fed by a farmer standing in a field next to a dirt wall and a flooding river. But Egypt had the Nile. Not every civilization was that lucky. In Persia, modern day, Iran, the landscape was harsher. Mountains to the north, desert to the south, and almost no surface water between them. The Persians had to go underground. Around 1000 BCE, Persian engineers developed what may be the most elegant water system ever built by human hands, the Qanat. A Qanat is a series of vertical shafts sunk into the base of a mountain, connected at the bottom by a gently sloping underground tunnel. Gravity pulled groundwater down the tunnel toward the surface, sometimes for kilometers, emerging at the far end as a steady, reliable stream of clean, cool water entirely unaffected by surface evaporation or drought. No pumps, no energy source, no maintenance beyond the occasional clearing of debris, just the laws of physics, applied with extraordinary precision across distances that took teams of specialized engineers, called Muqarnas, years to complete. Some Qanats built over 3,000 years ago are still flowing today, still watering fields, still feeding villages. The Romans built their aqueducts above ground and called them marvels of engineering. The Persians built theirs underground, invisible, silent, inexhaustible, and barely mentioned them. And then came Rome. The Romans took everything they had learned from the civilizations they conquered: Etruscan drainage engineering, Greek hydraulics, Persian water management, and scaled it to something the ancient world had never seen. Roman aqueducts carried water across hundreds of kilometers, through valleys, over mountains, through solid rock, using nothing but a precisely calculated gradient, sometimes as gentle as 1 centimeter of drop per 100 meters, to keep water flowing at a steady pace. At their peak, 11 aqueducts fed the city of Rome alone. They delivered around 1 million cubic meters of water per day. For a city of 1 million people, that's roughly 1 cubic meter per person per day. Modern European cities average less, and that wasn't just for drinking and bathing. Roman aqueducts fed the agricultural land surrounding every city in the empire, making it possible to farm regions that the climate alone could never support. When the Roman Empire fell, and the aqueducts fell with it, so did the agricultural productivity of entire regions. Some areas of Europe and North Africa didn't recover their Roman-era crop yields for over 1,000 years. The medieval Islamic world picked up where Rome left off and went further. Between the 8th and 13th centuries, engineers across the Islamic Caliphate developed irrigation systems of remarkable sophistication. In Spain, the Moors built the acequia system, a network of canals and distribution channels so well designed that versions of it are still in use in the American Southwest today, transplanted by Spanish colonists who didn't fully understand what they were inheriting. In Persia and Central Asia, Qanat systems were expanded across the entire region. In Yemen, the ancient Marib Dam, one of the largest structures of the ancient world, was repaired and extended to irrigate an area larger than some modern nations. Water, in Islamic engineering culture, wasn't just a resource. It was an obligation. Water law, who owned it, who could use it, how it had to be shared, was written into Islamic legal tradition with a sophistication that modern water rights scholars still reference today. For most of human history, irrigation meant one thing: getting water to move horizontally across the land. But in the 20th century, that changed completely. The internal combustion engine gave farmers something no civilization had ever had before: the ability to pull water up from deep underground in volumes and at speeds that made gravity-fed systems look trivial. Motorized pumps, powered by diesel and then electricity, could sink a borehole into an aquifer hundreds of meters below the surface and lift that water to the surface in a continuous stream. Land that had been desert for 10,000 years was suddenly farmable. Then, in 1948, an American engineer named Frank Ziebach changed irrigation forever with a single invention: the center pivot. A center pivot is exactly what it sounds like: a long arm of sprinklers pivoting around a central water source, tracing a giant circle across a field. You've seen them from the air. those perfect green circles scattered across the American Great Plains, each one a quarter-mile across, each one a single center pivot irrigating 130 acres of what was previously semi-arid grassland. Today, over 200,000 center pivots operate in the United States alone. The circular green fields they create are visible from space. Zeibach patented the design and sold it for just $15,000. It is one of the most undervalued inventions in agricultural history. But center pivots, for all their efficiency, still spray water into the air. And a significant portion of that water never reaches the plant. It evaporates. It drifts in the wind. It soaks into soil where no roots are growing. In the 1960s, in a country with almost no water to waste, someone finally solved that problem. Israel. A nation founded in a desert, surrounded by enemies, with annual rainfall so low that any inefficiency in water use was a direct threat to national survival. Israeli engineer Simcha Blas had noticed something unusual on his farm. One tree was growing far larger and healthier than all the others. The only difference he could find was a slow leak in a nearby pipe, dripping water directly onto the soil at the base of that tree, day after day. He turned that observation into an invention: drip irrigation, a network of thin tubes running along crop rows, with tiny emitters that release water drop by drop directly to the root zone of each plant, reduces water usage by up to 50% compared to sprinkler systems, and up to 70% compared to surface flooding. In a country that was desalinating seawater just to survive, that wasn't just an agricultural innovation. It was a matter of existence. Today, drip irrigation has spread to over 10 million hectares worldwide, in every country that faces water stress, which in a warming climate is an increasingly long list. And now, in the 21st century, irrigation is entering its final form. Sensors buried in the soil measure moisture levels in real time and report them to a central computer, which adjusts irrigation schedules automatically, not by the clock, but by what the plant actually needs at that moment in that precise location. Satellite imagery maps water stress across entire fields before a farmer could ever see it with their own eyes. AI systems predict rainfall patterns and pre-adjust irrigation schedules accordingly. Drones inspect entire irrigation networks for leaks and blockages in hours, covering distances that would take a crew of engineers days on foot. The ditch the Sumerians dug 8,000 years ago has become a sensor, a satellite, and an algorithm. Here's what's easy to miss in this story. Every major advance in human civilization, the Egyptian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Islamic Golden Age, the American agricultural expansion, the Israeli food security miracle, was an irrigation story first. The politics came after. The culture came after. The armies, the philosophy, the art, all of it came after someone figured out how to move water to a place it wouldn't naturally go. We talk about civilizations like they were built by great men with great ideas, but they were built by farmers, standing in fields, moving water. Next episode, we look at the tool those farmers used to put seeds into that irrigated soil, and why the history of the seed drill is really the history of the modern food supply. Subscribe to follow the full series, and tell me in the comments, which ancient civilization's irrigation system do you want a deep dive on?